Welcome to Behind the Law with Justin Clarke, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Welcome back to another edition of Behind the Law. I'm here with attorney Justin Clarke, and today we're talking about remedies to keep you and your house if you're concerned about losing your home to foreclosure or short sale. Now, you can also call the office today and during the week at 321-282-1055. That's 321-282-1055, but we're taking your calls right now, and we welcome our television audience on WRDQ TV 27, a rather dapper-looking barrister over here. That would be the one and only Justin Clarke.
Why do you say that today?
You look good today.
Thanks, man.
Looking sharp.
What's going on? How was the weekend so far?
Weekend has been outstanding.
You know, I heard the Rob Newton coverage of the plane crash the other day, and I tell you,
It's unbelievable.
I don't know why Fox News hasn't called you yet, because I mean, you're right on the top of things.
Every Saturday afternoon,
Some sort of
I
news.
am here, something happens somewhere in the world, and we just bank on it now. We're just ready to go.
What do you think happened there? I mean, to me, it's pretty obvious. Guy comes up short. I don't know any other explanation. What do you think?
He came up short. At 3:30 this morning, I was still watching the news coverage because you can't sleep during a thing like that.
Right.
And there was a flight that had come in just ahead of them. And the people on that flight were being interviewed and said their plane was coming in on its usual approach. Some of these people were veterans at flying into San Francisco. And they said they were coming in, and all of a sudden their plane caught a pocket and just dropped.
No, that would do it.
Dropped. And they said they bet this plane dropped like that and then hit the shoreline, the tail's in the water, and that was it. But look at the great construction of that airplane. Look at the safety features, the training of the crew, that they got only so far 2 fatalities, and that's too many. But look at all the people who survived that mess.
Quite unbelievable.
And they walked away.
You know, that same crash in 1990 probably kills everyone on board.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And the chutes were out. The flight attendants did a great job. Everybody did a super job. That's 2 great miracles of airplane crashes or mishaps. The first was Sully a few years ago.
And
but
you know,
amazing.
That's how to save a life in an airplane crash. Today we're going to talk about how to save a home if you want to.
I like that. You got your life, you need a home.
Because we're in a crazy real estate market right now. The prices are up literally about 30% since we were talking in this exact same room a year ago. Mm-hmm. Prices are up 30%. Interest rates are up
30%.
And there are a lot of people still in their homes, still in foreclosure, still working with their bank to try to save the home. And I realize it's been a nightmare for you. It's been probably one of the worst experiences of your life, going through this process of trying to save your home. You're dealing with some incompetent bank, but let me tell you something. If you go to rent a house right now, you're going to be paying more than if we can keep you in the house that you already own. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You're going to lose on those tax credits. You're going to have to pack everything up. Now, don't get me wrong. I think going through all these drawers and filing cabinets and throwing some stuff away, even if you're going to save your house, is a good idea. You know what I'm talking about? Like when you're in the kitchen and you see these drawers that you never use, and you don't want to open them because there's so much crap in there.
And everybody's got one.
You know, I meet with clients all the time, and I say, hey, don't worry. If we have to get you out of this house and you go get a new one, you're going to love throwing half of this junk away. But if we're going to keep you in the house, I still think maybe let's go through some of these drawers, have a garage sale, you know, make a little bit of money, get rid of some of this crap. I get so many hoarders in my office that it's downright scary, and I promise you it feels good to throw some of this stuff away. It feels like you're starting a new life a little bit, but especially those drawers in the kitchen. You don't know what's in there anymore. I know you're going to have some Chinese takeout menus in there, I think.
27-year-old ever-ready batteries. Everybody's got the batteries.
Let me tell you something. That Chinese restaurant isn't open anymore. Throw it away. Let's go through everything and throw it away. But I still think we can save these houses. I think the time to do a modification on your house is now. Now is the time. These banks have jerked around everyone, including you, for the last 6 years. And for the last 6 years, you've gone on Zillow.com and you've looked at your house value, and you look and it's gone down. Every time you go, you get more frustrated because your house is worth less. Go again. Go again right now and look on Zillow.com, and I guarantee you your house value is much closer to what you owe than it was 6 months ago. So now is the time. If we want to keep you in this house, we have ways to do it, and now is the best time in the history of what we've been doing here for the last 6 years to keep you in your house.
I guess with all the talk recently about the new fast-paced foreclosure law in Florida and about all the rest of that, we sort of lost track for about the past 90 days in all of the media of what is still there that you can use. What are the ways that the government, that the banks, that various people have gotten together to try to help you that's a remedy to the situation? Here's something to think about. Are you working on a short sale? Whether you're working on a short sale or currently in the market for one, the offices of Gregory and Clarke can help out. Just give their office a call right now at 321-282-1055. We'll be right back.
If you're having any legal problems that could cost you your home, remember the offices of Gregory and Clarke are your one-stop shop for saving your home. Short sales, foreclosure, bankruptcy, refinancing, it's all under one roof. Just give them a call right now at 321-282-1055, and you can schedule a free consultation. We'll be right back.
Ask your question live. Tune into FM 96.5 WDBO Sundays at noon and ask Justin your question.
Your house is probably still going to be underwater. However, the interest rates are skyrocketing right now, okay? But when you do a modification, it has nothing to do with the current interest rates in the market.
Stay tuned. Justin Clarke will be right back with more Behind the Law. Welcome back to Behind the Law, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Welcome back to another edition of Behind the Law. I'm here with attorney Justin Clarke, and today we're talking about remedies to help you keep your home. There are many of them, and you need to get out a pencil and paper. Now, during the show, if you want to talk to some of Justin's associates back at the office, just give a call to 321-282-1055. That's 321-282-1055.
The first thing we have to do to figure out how we're going to save this home is we have to figure out who actually owns the mortgage, okay? Everyone, you get a letter that says, oh, it's Bank of America or Chase or Wells Fargo. Most of the time, that's not who owns your mortgage, okay? Your mortgage is typically owned by a Fannie Mae, a Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, or some private investor. So the first thing we have to do to figure out how we want to save your home and what our options really are is to see who owns it. And the first thing we really should do is see if it's a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac mortgage. 95% of the people that come into my office have no idea if their loan is Fannie or Freddie. I don't blame you. I mean, there's no reason you would really know that. You have to go out and look it up and see. And there's a couple ways to do it. Just do a Google search for Fannie Mae loan lookup or Freddie Mac loan lookup, or you can go to their websites. I think Fannie is knowyouroptions.com. Freddie is freddiemac.com. And you enter your address and the last four digits of your Social Security number, and then it's going to tell you, okay, your loan is owned by Fannie or Freddie. Now we know what we're dealing with here. If you have a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loan, you are not going to get a principal reduction when we do a modification, okay? Mm-hmm. So if we're going to do a modification on your house, a principal reduction is out of the question. So you're still going to owe them as much as you owed them before. So your house is probably still going to be underwater. However, the interest rates are skyrocketing right now, okay? But when you do a modification, it has nothing to do with the current interest rates in the market. It has everything to do with your financial situation. So if the interest rates can go up to 7%, it doesn't matter. We can still get you a 2% interest rate at times by doing a modification because it's all based on your gross monthly income. And there have been a lot of changes recently. Used to, it was always 31% of your gross monthly income should be principal, interest, taxes, insurance. Should be your full payment every month. Now they can go all the way down to 25%. So if you're at home right now, take your gross monthly income. Just figure it out. It's more difficult if you're self-employed because your income changes, but you got to look at the averages. Or you have to have someone like me who knows how to do it, look at the averages, and present it to the bank a certain way and say, look, bank, I can't afford my payment as it is now, but if you reduce it to 2% at 40 years, I can make the payment. I'll stay in my house. You don't have to come take over my house and pay for foreclosure attorneys and come mow my yard. You know what I mean? And we're going to stay there, and everyone's going to be happy. And I've never seen banks do better modifications than I have in recent months. So, again, if we want to save our house, this is how. And there are options. And we've talked about this bank fatigue on this show many times, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let the bank, the only way the bank can win is by beating you down, by putting you through this crap for months and years. Most people who come in my office have been doing it for a year. A year is the mark when they come in and say, Justin, I can't deal with these people anymore. You got to help me. And again, they're homicidal or suicidal or both because these banks beat people down. That's how they win. But if you want to lose, then let them beat you down so much where you just say, okay, take my house, take it. Because now you're going to have a foreclosure against you. Your credit's going to be bad for a long time. But to make matters worse, they can then sue you for the difference in what it's worth at the time of foreclosure auction and what you owed them. That's how the banks win. Don't let the banks win.
And it makes sense, too, that while they're holding you off, we've had so many calls over the past 2 years of people saying, well, the bank keeps losing my file. The bank keeps doing this. The bank keeps doing that. But consider this. If you are making your payments at $11.50 a month, just think. That's getting that $11.50 a month into the bank every single month versus what are you going to be paying after that, $500 or $600? So, I think some of them think it's only in their best interest, but not if it ends up in foreclosure. How much does an average foreclosure cost in a financial institution?
It varies wildly, but there are a lot of $20,000, let's say. When you come to the cost of them having to mow the grass and pay the homeowners associations, a lot of costs involved with that, and it's a nightmare for the banks. I don't know why they haven't been better at working with people. But there's a lot of work. So let's say you go on Fannie and Freddie on the website and you figure out you are Fannie or Freddie. You have a couple of different options. One, if you are not current on your mortgage, your option is to do a modification. It's the HAMP program, HAMP, Home Affordable Modification Program. We're now under what's called HAMP Tier 2, which is a much better modification program than the original HAMP. Now under HAMP Tier 2, it says, even if this isn't your primary home, we can do a modification. Mm-hmm. Even if you've already done a modification before and fell behind again, you can do a modification. And I'm going to tell you the rest right after the break.
Behind the Law is pre-recorded for TV, but you can ask your questions live on the radio Sundays at noon on News 96.5. And if you need legal advice right now, Justin's associates are standing by. Just give the offices of Gregory and Clarke a call at 321-282-1055.
Ask your question live. Tune into FM 96.5 WDBO Sundays at noon and ask Justin your question.
Thing that makes me a little nervous, Rob, is doing a modification takes a long time. It's not a short process. Even with me involved, it takes a significant amount of time. Now, our brilliant legislator here in Florida has passed a law that says we have a fast-track foreclosure process in Florida now. Just happened recently. So in the past, I would say don't worry. Even if the modification takes us a year, it's going to take them 2 years to foreclose. It was averaging over 800 days for a bank to foreclose on someone in Florida. Mm-hmm. I'm very nervous that process is going to happen a lot faster now.
Stay tuned. Justin Clarke will be right back with more Behind the Law. Welcome back to Behind the Law, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Welcome back to the show. Attorney Justin Clarke of Gregory and Clarke Attorneys at Law, right there in Longwood. You can give the show a call right now at 407-297-9696 or 855-297-9696. Associates are standing by at the law offices of Gregory and Clarke at 321-282-1055. That's 321-282-1055. And if you hear some really cool stuff on the radio today and you want to pass this along to some of your friends at work and tell them, wow, you should have been listening to the show, they can actually watch the show on next Saturday on WRDQ TV 27. That's kind of neat, double coverage, and that way you don't miss a thing. We're talking about saving your home in this time of economic uncertainty, but also there's a new equation, there's a new quotient, and that is we're starting to see appreciating home values up to 30%. So those of you that thought you were upside down, maybe not so much anymore. You might be just where you need to be to qualify for some of these programs and get the bank's attention.
And we're talking about HAMP, and HAMP is the modification program. It's the way to save your house, especially if you're behind. If you're current, there's some other ways to do it, and we're going to talk about that a little later, but HAMP is a fantastic program. Maybe the best part of HAMP is it's free. There are no costs. There are no fees for appraisals. It's a free process. HAMP modification costs you nothing. Costs zero. Anytime you're going to do a refinance, you're going to have to pay some lender fees and other fees, there are going to be some costs there. The good thing about HAMP, it's free. No cost whatsoever to you. Another good thing is it's been extended now. Just a couple weeks ago, it was extended through 2015. Wow. The government, basically without us even pressuring them, extended this program through 2015, so we have some time. However, the thing that makes me a little nervous, Rob, is doing a modification takes a long time. It's not a short process. Even with me involved, it takes a significant amount of time. Now, our brilliant legislator here in Florida has passed a law that says we have a fast-track foreclosure process in Florida now. Just happened recently. So in the past, I would say, don't worry. Even if the modification takes us a year, it's going to take them 2 years to foreclose. It was averaging over 800 days for a bank to foreclose on someone in Florida. Mm-hmm. I'm very nervous that process is going to happen a lot faster now because of the fast-track foreclosure that was passed into law just in this last session. Let's make no mistake, it passed. We have a fast-track foreclosure system in Florida that you're going to start hearing a lot about. It was very strange because the media coverage on it was almost nil.
Right.
I believe that the media locally and nationally is sick of hearing about foreclosure. I believe that they passed the law Friday afternoon after the news people were already gone home, and it was just way under the radar. I even talked to some of my news people and said, you need to do a story on this, and none of them called me back. But let's make no mistake, I'm telling you right now that in the state of Florida, banks can foreclose on you in as little as about 45 days. Wow. So if indeed we need to do a modification, we need to start now, especially if you are not current on your mortgage. You need to call me now so we can start the modification process, or you need to start doing it on your own now. But if you've been getting jerked around for a year already, you know it's not an easy process. Come see me. I would never charge anyone to come in and see me ever. We'll sit down and we'll go through exactly what the best way to keep you in your house by lowering your monthly payment and possibly lowering the principal balance of your home.
We're going to take another break, but you can get legal advice right now by calling Justin's office at 321-282-1055. Associates are standing by. We'll be right back.
You can find more Behind the Law on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Gregory and Clarke, where there's plenty of past episodes with valuable information on how to save your home from the mortgage companies. Check it out.
Ask your question live. Tune into FM 96.5 WDBO Sundays at noon and ask Justin your question.
If you're not Fannie or Freddie, the government's really incentivizing these banks to do principal reductions to get the value of your home down closer to the market value.
Stay tuned. Justin Clarke will be right back with more Behind the Law. Welcome back to Behind the Law, the show that takes you behind the law and answers your toughest legal questions.
Let me ask you a couple of pertinent questions on this. Does the HAMP also cover second homes, investment homes, vacation homes?
It does. Under HAMP Tier 1, the regular first HAMP, it was only your primary home. HAMP Tier 2 absolutely covers a secondary home. There are some guidelines on that. But maybe importantly, too, maybe you got in trouble in 2009, did a modification, got your job back, now we're losing income again. We can do another one. There's no requirement that we can only do one modification. So even if you've done one in the past, don't think, that was my one ticket out of this, we can't do it again. You absolutely can do it again under HAMP Tier 2, which is an excellent idea. And the guidelines are better for you now, where if you're Fannie or Freddie, you're not getting a principal reduction. If you're not Fannie or Freddie, the government's really incentivizing these banks to do principal reductions to get the value of your home down closer to the market value, which is obviously fantastic. So, all of the back interest and all these fees, they get wiped away. So you're going to be in a lot better shape. And again, these hedge funds have come in here and bought up all of the inventory in all of Central Florida, creating a lack of inventory.
Yes.
So even if you want to go buy a new house right now, it's going to be difficult. The interest rates are going up a little bit, and there's just not a lot of inventory. Now, I believe with the interest rates going up, the hedge funds are getting out, and the inventory is going to open up again, hopefully in the next 6 months. But who knows?
But, of course, with HAMP, as you said earlier, and if I'm wrong, apologize, but as you said earlier, with HAMP, you don't need to worry about these increases up into the mid-4s now. We're okay.
It has absolutely nothing to do with the prevailing market rates. It has everything to do with your gross monthly income. Again, just figure up your gross monthly income, multiply it by 0.25 or 0.31, and that's what you should be paying total, and that's including principal, interest, taxes, insurance. If you're paying more than that, you're crazy. We got to do something. Now, maybe on the other side of the break, we'll talk also about if I told you how to go find out if you're Fannie or Freddie. If your loan is owned by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, that it changes everything for you, okay? We can do a modification if you're not current. But if you're current on your mortgage and you find out your mortgage is owned or backed by Fannie or Freddie, there's a whole other set of circumstances. Now, however, a lot of people come to me and they're current. They say, Justin, I'm current on my mortgage. I don't want to ruin my credit, but yet I'm getting screwed because I'm current. What do I do? Well, there's a little invention called the HARP program, HARP. Now we're under HARP 2.0, which the first HARP was a complete mess and a disaster, anyone will tell you. HARP 2.0 has been a lot better. And I think HARP stands for Home Affordable Refinance Program, or call RP Funding if you want to do a HARP.
I like
That's the RP at the end. So go to rpfunding.com. HARP is a refinance program. It means that it's actually new money coming in to pay off the old mortgage, and you're going to get a whole new mortgage. There are going to be some fees, but it's a way to reduce your interest rate without ruining your credit, okay? It's going to take very little time. You can do it if you're underwater. There's no appraisal required typically. So you can do this thing. It's one way to refinance an underwater home without having to go delinquent.
That'll wrap up our discussion, but there's still so much to talk about that could save your home. So if you have questions, give the offices of Gregory and Clarke a call right now at 321-282-1055. There's never a charge for a consultation, and it could save your home. We'll see you again next week right here on TV 27.
Thank you for watching Behind the Law with Justin Clarke. Be sure to join us again next week as Justin takes you behind the law and answers your legal questions.